Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. Thank you so much for joining with me today for Coffee with the Principal. Thank you for taking the time as we join together this morning. Just as a reminder, you've joined the meeting muted. Feel free to use the chat box as needed. We are recording this meeting. We encourage you to leave your video on, but you certainly don't have to. We'll have a Q&A section as we always do at the end. If we're small enough, you can just unmute. But if there's a lot of folks, then we ask you to use the raise your hand button. So again, thank you so much for joining us. This week, I got to spend a lot of time in classrooms, which is my favorite place to be. One of the classrooms that I got to visit was our 7th grade math class, where for one of our classes, we're piloting a co-teaching model where two teachers teach together. Here we have Ms. Sanchez, and she's joining together with Mr. Kendrick. They're learning ratios, rates, proportions, and they do a really great job tag teaming together to benefit all the students. So that was the Ms. Sanchez portion. Then Mr. Kendrick just picked it up right where she left off and continued with comparing fractions, looking at how those fractions connect with graphs, how those looking at graphs can then help students spot patterns. So awesome job for the co-taught math class that we get to pilot here at Katherine Johnson STEM Academy. I also got to pop into the 6th grade math class where, similar to fractions, the same concept, but looking a little bit differently, students are working on their decimals. So being comfortable, being fluent with decimals, that will help them build their foundational skills in the 6th grade math as they build up that fluency so that when they get to deeper proportions, ratios, unit rates, graphing, they can really be successful at that in future grade levels. Also got to pop into our 6th grade ELA classroom, and not only does Ms. Sabat do an amazing job providing information about content and relevant ways that some of the oceanic and ecosystems are connected to our world, but she does so in a way that gives students access to grade level rigorous text. And so students are engaging in dialogue and reading and writing specifically about sharks in this passage. And the lesson is on using in-text citations and developing inferences, which is one of the skills that is so important for young people, but also one of the ones that Ms. Sabat does a great job spending time on with her students. So we want to build up those inferential skills with our students in those classes. Ms. Dunklin is excitingly leading a lot of our programs here to connect our learning with our STEM content. I got to pop into I think this is a 7th grade 7th grade robotics classroom, and what they were doing in this particular class on this day was they were designing towers and seeing how high they could build it with some of the design principles that they've been learning. Just to make sure we're always keeping things grounded in data, they are keeping track of what sorts of heights they are ascending to and how the height is related to the time it takes for that building to collapse. So that is some of the structures that they are building in their STEM class as they learn how the engineering principles connect to their classes. In our history classes, Miss Alejandra is doing a tremendous job in engaging the kids in all sorts of learning around ancient civilizations. She's using a program called IXL to help students understand about ancient Mayan civilizations and how lessons learned from there can actually create today. Students work in groups together where they're looking at articles, where they're looking at artifacts, where they're looking at photographs, and they're talking together and writing together about what they're learning and about how they can apply those thoughts to today. So go ahead and make sure you're asking all your students about what they're learning in class. Ask them what they're learning in their particular subjects. Not just what did they do, but specifically what they're learning. And that will help them really solidify that learning as well. A couple of operational updates for everyone. Many of you know, I shared this last week, that they finally painted the exterior of our school buildings after a long wait over the summer. And it was white in primer when we opened the year, but they finally painted the outside. And what that coat of paint did was it allowed us to finally put up the banners that we had ordered over the summer to really create a more welcoming space. So we've got right across our main building, our vision, our 21st century problem solvers with great hearts and great minds, and then reminders in various places of the campus of the LAUSD 3Bs: be safe, be respectful, be responsible. And then, some of our school-wide rules in the lunch eating area, and it creates a much more welcoming space. We also were excited to launch this week our outdoor basketball recreation area, which students can engage in during lunch break, during wellness break, and sometimes our teachers engage in them as well. So here we have Mr. Ram. I think this is during a lunch playing basketball with some of our students. So we post the basketball rules for everyone to play safely, for everyone to have a fun time while they play together. So we had this for a couple weeks already, but last week was just way too hot. And so as a result, we delayed it until it cooled off a little bit this week. So that's one of the things that kids have been enjoying here at Katherine Johnson STEM Academy this week. And after they've played a really hard game of basketball, sometimes if they got a few minutes left before the end of lunch, sometimes they just want to kick back and relax. And we have some additional shaded areas where kids can sit and just relax while we've got a few more minutes left in lunch or in wellness. So these folks are enjoying a quiet moment together before they head back to class. I wanted to share with everyone that we are launching, our Beyond the Bell program is launching a girls flag football team. And so that launches, our coach Brian has been practicing with them this week, and that launches this Saturday at 11 a.m. at Hamilton High School. So we've got a team of girls who are going to be playing flag football. If you have a 6th, 7th, or 8th grade girl and you want them to be a part of this, I'm going to put Coach Brian's email in the chat. You can reach out to him for more details and how to participate in that program. So we're so excited for our girls flag football team. Next week is going to be Spirit Week. So one of the things that happens here at Katherine Johnson is a couple times a year, 3-4 times a year, Miss Alejandra and her leadership class, they put together a Spirit Week. And the purpose of that is to build school spirit and also have a fun week of like dressing up in different styles and in different outfits and different attire. So it's always a really fun week. So that is going to happen next week from September 19th through the 23rd. Here's what's important. All the details of that are on Class Dojo. So one of the questions that parents ask me is this. My kid says it's a themed dress day. How do I know for sure? And the answer is check Class Dojo, because all of the themed days are going to be posted there. So again, each of the themed days is optional. We encourage students to participate in the themed dress days, but it is completely optional. But if students don't want to wear the particular attire for that particular day, they don't have to, but it is a regular school uniform if they don't wear that particular attire. And then lastly, I'll just say this, and there's a link on the flyer itself. Just the general overall rules for themed day. Basically, I can boil down the rules into two. Number one, nothing unsafe. Number two, nothing offensive. So that's basically, if you fit the theme and you're not wearing something unsafe and you're not wearing something offensive, then it's fine. But those are the full rules and expectations right there. This isn't, I think I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but if you are not on Class Dojo, it is really important that you get on Class Dojo. Miss Guth can help you with that if you are not on Class Dojo, because she is the Class Dojo expert, and she puts all together our courses on the back end. So please send her an email today if you're not on Class Dojo, and she can help you with that. Report cards are coming up. One quick update, the original deadline for the grading window to close was today, but because of the email or the LAUSD cyber attack, LAUSD extended the window for schools to submit their grades. So that window has been extended to next Friday. However, what's really important is that your child check with their teachers, because their teachers need time to actually grade stuff. So many of the teachers have deadlines of like today or Monday or Tuesday for students to turn in work, to have enough time for them to grade it and to include it in the report card. So the grading window for us will close on the 23rd. Again, check with your individual teachers about when specifically that is due. Those report cards are printed on September 27th, which is after we come back. There's no school on the 26th. But they'll be mailed out on the 27th. You'll probably get them Thursday or Friday. But I encourage you to check Schoology for your grades, because by the time you get a report card, it's kind of like reading an old newspaper. It's a little bit old, but always check on Schoology for the most up-to-date grades. Shoot, there was something else I was going to say about that as well, and I don't remember what it was. Oh yeah. This is also important as well. So we are teaching our students to be responsible, to be accountable for all of their belongings. One of the things that we are having students use this year for the first time is every student was issued a paper hall pass that they can use. Teacher can send them to the restroom, or if they're sending them to a different classroom, they need to have their hall pass with them. If a student fills up the hall pass and they need a new one, we will give them a new one. We printed one for every kid at the beginning of the year. We gave them that. And if they fill it up completely and need a new one, we'll give them a new one, no problem. But if they lose it, they're forced to purchase a new one. So it's just a nominal fee of $2. And so if a child has come up to us and said, I lost my hall pass, we have given them a new hall pass and sent up, if they didn't have the $2 with them, we sent a PayPal invoice to the email address on file for $2. And that can be paid either through PayPal, or the child can bring in $2. But here's why I'm mentioning that now, because if there's any fees that are still outstanding for kiddos, then we hold the report card until that fee gets paid, either the $2 in cash or the $2 through PayPal. So if you've gotten a $2 invoice in your email from PayPal, make sure that gets taken care of before we print report cards on the 27th. All right, just a reminder, I think the deadline's October, but if you haven't done so already, take 10-15 minutes and fill out the meal application here at this website, myschoolapps.com. Every kid eats for free no matter what this year, but this helps generate funding for our school. Just as a reminder, Beyond the Bell does happen Mondays through Thursdays from 3:46 to 6 p.m. On Fridays, today, it starts right at the end of school, 2:17 p.m., goes till 6 p.m. And again, just it's important to know that because the high school doesn't get out until 3:30, if your child stays on a Friday for Beyond the Bell, they have to stay here until after 3:30. They can't, once they leave that gate here, it locks behind them, and then they're down in the Beyond the Bell area until 3:30 when the high school gets out, and then you can come up and pick up your child. All right. A parent yesterday asked me this question, and I thought, oh, you know what, I need to share that again on Coffee with the Principal, and I've shared this before, and that is this: what's the best way to get in touch with us here at Katherine Johnson STEM Academy? Obviously, our school phone number, 323-673-1230. But here's a little secret that not a whole lot of people know. I've shared it before, but this may have gone under the radar. That school phone number is actually a Google Voice number that rings our main office. But because it's a Google Voice number, it's also can accept text messages. And if you send a text to our school phone number, it comes to my phone. So please don't send me a text message at all hours of the night or day. But you know, if for some reason you do call the school phone and no one picks up, and it's urgent and you can't leave a message, please go ahead and send a text to the school phone number and it comes to my phone. The other thing is this: I do have an emergency cell phone that I carry on me. It's actually, you know, a second SIM card basically, which is 626-634-2249. This is like a phone number to contact the principal in a life or death emergency. My phone, if that number gets called, it shows up as, you know, emergency cell phone number, and I will answer it. Hi, this is Mr. Hunsberger. What's your emergency? So again, don't use that number again unless it's a life or death emergency. But again, our school phone number. There's a little secret about texting, and class dojos are a really good way too as well. It's a little bit slow on our end because they're still repairing the network, and class dojo isn't accessible from here directly. So thank you so much for your patience as we get back to all our technology stuff. Okay, some COVID updates. The school report card is back up there. So in the last 10 days, or actually, this is kind of old data because this is before Labor Day. So 9/9/2, we had 4 cases among staff and students. All of those individuals were at home, isolating, healing, getting better. And then once they tested negative after 5 days, or once they did the full 10 days of isolation, then they returned. This hasn't been updated since Labor Day, but once this is up and running, you can check this anytime you want. But again, please monitor your children for any COVID symptoms. If they're not feeling well, please keep them home, because we want them to get better, and we don't want to spread anything that they might have, whether it's COVID or whether it's the flu or whether it's anything. So again, thank you so much in advance for that. Okay, that is it for me this morning. I'm going to stop the sharing. Just a reminder, as always, if you haven't done so already and you want to leave a review for us, you can go to bit.ly/KJSA Great Schools. And right now I can go ahead and pause and see if there are any questions that folks might have at this point. And by the way, September is Attendance Awareness Month. And so it's one of the initiatives that happens in LA Unified. We encourage students to have good attendance. But again, if they're sick, don't attend. All right. Any questions from anyone while we're still here?
I have a question.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for having this. I really appreciate it on Fridays. I look forward to it. Initially, I didn't sign up to Class Dojo in enough time to meet the deadline for the committees. So I want to know, are they still open? Is it a possibility? I'm sorry, I came in a little bit late because I had another call that came in during this time. So I don't know if you discussed that already.
No worries. So right now they're not open. However, I will say that there will be, I'll say 2 things. One, there will be opportunities to volunteer here for the school. I actually met with a parent this week who's having some conversations with me and a parent from their previous elementary school to start the PTO back going here at Katherine Johnson STEM Academy. So once we got that going, I'll send that out for families to absolutely get involved with that. Number 2, our formal committees are full at this point. However, we have started meeting, and there's a couple people who haven't attended. So I'm going to follow up with those individuals. And if an opening becomes available, we'll reach out again to families and see if there's interest. So hopefully that answers your questions.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions before we wrap it up today? All right. Well, I hope.
One more question.
Yes, please go ahead.
My daughter was telling me about the bathrooms. Do we have an issue like with someone cleaning the bathrooms, or I mean, because I know young ladies are going, having changes in their lives, and is there anything we could do to help them, like keep it cleaner, like things to bag their personal items before they put in the trash, or things of that nature?
No, that's a great question. The biggest thing that makes a difference for us, and this is a messaging that we'll continue to share with students, is that a lot of times, there's a student or a couple of students who leave the bathroom in a condition less than ideal. And then what happens is it'll stay that way for a while until like hours later, hours later in the afternoon, somebody finally, lets a staff member know. So what is super helpful, and if you could remind your children, and I'll remind everyone here as well, is like, oh, if you notice that the bathroom or any space needs attention, please bring it to our attention right away, because we do have a great custodial staff here. And when we call them, they come. We get, the reality is we get busy all the day, and we don't, we check the bathrooms, but when there's an issue, that allows us to check it faster and to address it faster. So I very much appreciate that feedback. All right. Well, I hope you all have had a good week. I hope you have enjoyed the slightly cooler weather. I don't know if the heat wave's done or not, but I hope you all have an excellent weekend, and we'll see you all next week. Bye-bye.